Alright. I'm just gonna wait and see if that looks like it's getting brighter to me. We'll fix that. Okay. We'll just push this. Whoa! Well, imagine where we are again. So I'm gonna have to pull this thing apart because it's now throwing breakers. So when I turn it on to a certain temperature, I don't know, doesn't matter, 300, and after a while it'll do the smoke thing and it'll go so far and it'll go because the fan up here beats against this or something, and next thing I know, power's out. So let's go ahead and take this loose and see what we can find. Upon my inspections, I did find something a little interesting, so I'm not sure. That thing's sticking out pretty far. That's the igniter for all of the pellets, and it was really hard and crusty up underneath there, so I wonder if it wasn't pushing up and not making an arc or something. So we're going to test that. So this thing here is plugged in, got the cover open. Now watch this. No power. Oh man, that's gonna be interesting. So I gotta look in here for fusible link, and I'm gonna take this faceplate off to see what might be hiding underneath of there. It might be burnt. Well, let's figure it out. Well, here's some good news. There's a fuse in here, so chances of the transformer or any of these PCB components or anything like that, chances of them being ruined is kind of slim. So I'm willing to bet you that a fuse is going to be what we're going to have to tackle today. And knowing that, see, it makes me wonder why that overcurrented like that. So the power comes in here to a fusible link. Okay, so I had this wrong. So power comes into this black wire that goes into the fusible link that goes into the transformer. Now, the connection between the fusible link and the transformer is good. And there's our power. And this goes to here, but not to here, so this must be ground. And there's the other side of the transformer. So, but everything else has connection. So we're good there. Good to see. See, we start poking around, we're seeing we have power to things, we have connection to things. So, the important thing is to look and see if we've got any burn marks, and I don't see anything really that got that hot. But for right now, what I'm going to focus on is just getting this fuse out of here. And I may even relocate this. And there we are. One no longer intact fuse. Man, I'd really like to get a close-up of that. Yeah, she popped. And then on this side, 5A 250 volt. So, okay, well, that tells us what that is. Well, how about that? I actually have a little package of these kinds of fuses, so I'll just hold it in place with my fingers. I think I'll just eliminate this box altogether. It doesn't really make sense to have it. See what happens. See if it pops. Oop, well, that really didn't last long, did it? I don't ever use these fuses anyway, but that was cool. Yeah, something tells me we're gonna need AC ones. But these DC ones ain't gonna cut it. I saw some flashing on the PCB board. Very interesting. It still works. So we'll go ahead and get oops, what's it saying? Interesting. So yeah, it still works. Good to know. Good to know. And it's not really that warm.
So I'm going to save you from having to sit through some of my diagnostic routine here. When I started switching the selector off and the fan didn't continue to run, That should have been my first clue that something on the board was damaged beyond normal repair. And after replacing the fuse and conducting more testing, I found out that the heating element wasn't powering on. Then came the interesting part, figuring out how to get it out.
And wouldn't you know it, I haven't even touched this thing yet, and it looks like somebody's been here before.
After a few screws, and after figuring out all I had to do was lift out the burn pot at a weird angle, out came the heating element.
That wasn't so bad. There we go. So ETL 4010211. Yeah, 120 volt, 200 watt, 2004026000507. Alright, now we got numbers. Sweet. Alright, well, I'm on Amazon over here, and it looks like we can get one tomorrow, but we got a couple sizes here to work with. We got 4.3 inches and 0.37. So let's do some measurements real quick. Okay, so we got 0.375 there. I'd say it's about 4.3, somewhere in there. Okay. Okay, folks, let's see what we got here. So, supposedly it gotten our new parts. Take a gander. I'd say it looked relatively similar. So, let's see what we got. Alright, got a Molex connector. And we've got a brand new one of these. So the question is how we're going to run it, but before we do that, make sure. Man, you couldn't ask for better. Look at that. Alright. You can't even see this, but there's like a little grommet back here where the little hole is. And, I might try to get you some pictures of that, but yeah, it's definitely not coming out that way. How hard it was to get? I mean, I guess it's easy to get out, but jeez. Alright. Yeah, check it out, dude. I got you guys a good angle. So it comes through that side. And let's see here.
So I won't bore you and make you sit there watching me put the burn pod back in and the fan and everything else. But I figured I was on the home stretch until...
Sounds like she's rolling pellets in. Oops. Oh, okay. There's the error. So as soon as I let this thing go, it's not happy. Alright. We'll fix that. Okay. We'll just push this. Whoa! Holy smokes! Whoops. Well, good thing that caught that. Wow, that's a lot of power. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you always have GFI circuits dedicated to stuff like this. And in this case I did, and it saved it, kinda. Oh man, I don't know what that was at ARC, but it, oh okay, I see. It was just down here, a capacitor ended up touching the ground. Okay, so we won't do that again. Wasn't expecting all that. We're just trying to test this thing out. I didn't want to button it all the way up just to test it. Okay, let's try that again. Oh. There we go. We got some illumination. We've got pellets feeding. I hear them dropping in there. Oh, look at that. She's cherry hot already. Perfect. Well, there's no real reason to check amperage, but we can anyway. Let's go ahead and do that. Check our amperage up here. We are pulling 1.80 amps. That is low for that. Look at that son of a gun. Yeah, pretty soon that's gonna start smoking. What I do, I just turn it to 225, okay. And at least the temperature probe's reading, right? Yeah, that's starting to smoke. Okay, let's go ahead and turn it off. Alright, all that's left to do is to button it back up and... Oh my god. Whoa! Why is it still going? Is it getting hotter? That doesn't look like it's stopping. It's heating. That looks like it's still going. That is definitely still pulling amps. So we're at 1.5. So let's see what happens when we unplug it. Power's off. It's unplugged now, and naturally it's going to want to cool off now. But it makes me wonder if it's just going to sit there and keep heating itself. Because that's nuts. So let's go ahead and just plug it back in. Let's see if it turns red hot without it being on again. Alright. Just going to wait and see if that looks like it's getting brighter to me. Interesting. So, whatever we popped and blew up might have really damaged something. That's crazy. Because now it's wanting to stay on, even with it being in the off position. Look at that. Okay, so I was trying to figure this out, and apparently I did a lot more damage than I thought when this thing popped like that. Last time I did it didn't pop like that, but it did this time. So you see in here where my screwdriver's pointing, there's a little burned trace right there that goes to this transistor, and that is a what looks like VC, which would mean voltage control in my mind, and that's probably why the thing is running away. Now that could have been from me, but from what I saw, it popped back here. So I mean, you would think that back here wouldn't be no big deal, but wow, sure didn't like that whatsoever. So I'm just going to take this board off, and I'm going to see if there's anything I can do to try to run a new trace or a jumper. Let's see if that's something that can be worked out here. I mean, we may or may not. It's always a gamble. Now, do I recommend anybody go this far into it? Probably not. So I'm gonna take this off of here, and that should disconnect all the rest of this. Right? Yeah. Okay. So there's a little. Let's see, is it flathead? Yep. Baby, tiny little flathead in there. Let's see. Remember what position it's in. We'll turn to the off position. Okay. And that should slide right off. Okay. Now, get a little. Oh, I can do that with my fingers. Sweet. Alright. Take this loose, and this faceplate should come straight off. Okay, I just got to make sure this button stays in there. So we have the faceplate off. Now we can kind of see what really got screwed up in here. Yeah. See, when I popped that, I'm pretty sure that might have been me. But I'm fairly certain there's no more continuity in this circuit anymore.
Well, I feel like this video is getting long enough, so I opted to buy another board, install it, and put everything back together. But I'm not going to leave you hanging, because there are a few little quirks in this Amazon replacement. First and most importantly, this unit has a Molex connector for the 110 volt hookup, and that required some rewiring.
Here for us. Since we have a wire here, an extra pin out here, this is something we don't need. Instead, we need dedicated power and neutral wires. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut these back a little bit so I have enough room to make some alterations if I need to. We'll just cut those out. And two of these are going to be joined, or one is not. What we're going to do now, I'm going to make two ends like this. Oops. Make new ends. that there. There we go. Easy peasy. So there's one end. Two ends. Three. There we go. So we got these fancy pants things here. These are solder and seal wire connectors. So they should go like this. In here, what I'm hoping to do is be able to fit both into one like this. Kind of like that. There we go. And then I'll put the other wire in there and it'll hopefully all solder together and everybody will be happy. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this other old wire and make a make a new neutral. Stick that in there. All together like that. Then we'll just heat it up. See what happens. No, seems like it's soldered. Let's go ahead and just we'll do a little bit of a tone test here and see if it worked. There we go. Okay, so we have that. Stick this in it. Got it. Plug these in over here. And this one right here. Okay, so technically we should be all hooked up. Just pull these in real quick. I'll cable manage that here later. But for now, we need this to sit in here. I was gonna say, are you kidding me? It doesn't fit? Alright. Probably should have tested that before. We'll just put one screw in there. And we'll see if the element comes on. If it stays on, we got way worse issues going on. So let's plug it in. 3, 2, 1. Hopefully you won't have it backwards. Hey. Alright, we got 3 good flashes. Let's see if the element comes on. Alright, it's been about a minute, and the good news is there is no heat coming from that bad boy. I would not do that before. Alright, let's just see what it'll do. Oh shoot. I forgot about that. Yeah, don't do like I did. Forgot about that fan. Okay, now I stuffed all those wires in there, so let's go ahead and turn it back on. At least enough to just get it out of the way for now. Let's see, so we have I think that's a pretty good reading right there. Got all the same stats like we used to. Sweet. I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to put some pellets in there, that way it doesn't run dry. Oh, I already smell it getting warm. Yeah, that's getting ready to ignite. Yeah, we got smoke coming out already. Look at that. Awesome. That is cool. Well, now I'm going to asphyxiate myself in here. Nice. No, I'm kidding. Okay, well, I think that's enough for in here. I'll just turn on a fan, but cool. All right, well, it's working. We can see that. I just need to figure out how to stop it so that it doesn't burn anything else down in here. So let's go ahead and turn this off. Okay, so change of plans here. What ended up happening was I got up here this morning to go ahead and smoke some ribs on here, and next thing I knew, it was popping GFIs. Just for funsies, because I've got a lot of these, I figured I might as well just replace this. This is the new heating element that I just put in, just ordered. You'll recognize it by the purple Molex connector. And, well, I got the reader here, and here's the deal, it's not showing me any indication of a fault.
Okay, let me stop me right there. If you take a look, you'll see a little bulbous mark on the element, and I'm 99% sure that, like glow plugs, indicates this element was popped. And this time I installed the new element about 3/4 of an inch out. Lastly, to top off this video, I'm going to review this new board and my opinions of it after owning it for a little over a year. First, I'm going to give you the bad. I really hate, and I mean hate, how this thing will ramp to achieve or maintain a temperature, which in other words means it just runs and runs and runs. And it can be unnecessarily dangerous if you're changing temps while cooking. I've actually had to remove the meat and let it warm up because it started a small flash fire. However, once you get it to the desired temperature, it seems to maintain it decently enough. If I were to give it a rating, I'd give it about a 6.5 out of 10. It works, and it works better during the summer. Needless to say, it's nice to have this thing back, and I cook with it pretty much weekly. Everything from pork shoulder, to buffalo chicken legs, bacon-wrapped pork tenderloin, beef ribs. Yeah, I think it's worth it.